In today's class, we will be working towards Malasana or Yogi Squat. For class today, you will need 2 blocks, your mat as always, wall access because we will be starting with legs up the wall, and you might want a pillow as well, either for your head or to place underneath your hips once we go into legs up the wall. So we will start with your legs up the wall. Easiest way to get into this position is to sit on side or alongside the wall with your inner hip as close to the wall as you can get it. From here, leaning back onto your forearms, we're going to do a little leg swing. So you'll pick up your legs, swing them around, and you should be hips and butt up against the wall as much as possible. If this position is difficult or painful for you, if you have a tight lower back, it might help to elevate your hips slightly by sliding a pillow underneath or a folded blanket. If that still doesn't work, if it's still too much for your low back, move away from the wall until the position is more accessible for you. From here, give yourself a little minor adjustments, finding a place of comfort. Again, you can always place a pillow underneath your head as well. I have my mat up against the wall for now, but we will be moving it away from the wall once we begin to move a bit more in the practice. For now, begin to settle in. You might let your arms fall wide out beside you. Maybe fold your palms over your body if that's more comfortable, more safe. If comfortable, close your eyes. We'll take about 30 or 40 seconds here to settle in, finding breath, awareness of sensation of body, awareness of the connection of your breath to your body, and the sensation of each inhale and exhale. We'll find a few more moments here in stillness. Maybe see if you can soften your legs a bit more. You might even feel the knees slightly bend, heels heavier against the wall, arms equally as heavy, palms sinking into the floor, maybe giving the shoulders a minor adjustment for comfort. If for any reason your mind's left the room, just start to bring your focus and attention back into your body and the sensations within. Begin to bring small movements into your feet, wiggling through your toes, flex and point. Start to circle your ankles, wrists. I'm going to start with some deep circles of the ankles, taking them in the same direction, taking them to the right, around, and then back. Take this in the other direction, still circling the ankles in the same direction, feet in the same direction. Now we'll do opposing direction, taking the feet away from each other, around and back together. And then reverse that direction. Get all those snaps, crackles, and pops out. Good. Give the legs a quick shake out. And then from here, we're going to keep your left leg up the wall, straight up the wall. Slowly start to slide your right knee down. Give your right knee a hug into your chest. You might take some really small circles here, Circling your knee around your chest into your belly. Bring your right leg back up the wall, and now switching sides. Left leg will slide down the wall. Again, you might draw some really small circles. And then again, left leg up the wall. Bring the right knee back into the chest. And this time we're going to take that right foot to the wall, a little wider out of the hip. Slight angle on the right toes, pointing to the right. From here, let the right knee just start to open slightly. You could even bring your right hand to the inside of your right knee, gently pressing the right knee to the right. Notice if your hips are trying to pull to the right too. Try to keep the left hip as squared off as possible. The left hip never leaves the floor. Right knee back into the chest, extend your right leg to the ceiling, and switch sides, sliding the left knee down into the chest. Now we'll place the left foot on the wall, again a little bit wider than the left hip, with the left toes just slightly angling out, hugging the knee in now, so it's towards the outer rib cage. And then again, your left hand might come to the inside of the left knee, just gently starting to press your left knee open. Left leg re-extends up the wall. And we're going to slide into a straddle position here. So taking your hands to the outsides of your thighs, use the hands for support, and slowly begin to open your legs wide against the wall as it's comfortable for you. Listen to any sensations with inside your knees, any overstretching on the inside of the knee you want to avoid. So you might take the legs a little closer in if you feel too much pulling on that inside knee. You might take the legs a little further out. You could give them a hand by just gently pressing the palms to the insides of the thighs or knees. We've got a few more breaths here. With all of these shapes that we create, notice if you feel your low back at any time beginning to arch up or pull away from the floor. See if you can keep the low back pressing into the mat as much and often as possible. Gently drawing your navel towards the back of your spine. We'll take one more breath here. And then once again, bringing your hands to the outsides of your thighs. Use your hands for assistance to bring the legs back together up the wall. Now we're going to let the feet start to come inwards. The knees begin to soften. Start to slide your heels down the wall. We're coming into a butterfly pose or Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, outer edges of the feet against the wall, and you'll just slowly use the wall to slide the heels as far down towards the center line of your body as it's accessible for your hips, your low back. Again, if you feel the low back want to arch, you might slide the feet a little further up the wall and work from that angle. Palms can also come to your inner thighs or inner knees and gently press the knees towards the wall. And then again, be aware if that arch is a low back. Take about 6 to 8 more breaths here. Maybe notice if you have an inch or two more to slide the heels downwards. We've got a couple more breaths. Now, bringing your hands to the outsides of your knees, use some resistance from your inner thighs. You're going to begin to close the knees. You might walk the feet up the wall a little bit to make this more accessible. Now give both knees just a quick hug into the chest. Maybe a little rock back and forth. This next angle, you might need to slide away from the wall a couple of inches if this is too deep. Placing your feet on the wall. I'm going to take the heels a little wider than your hips. Again, if you feel too much resistance from the internal hip flexors, slide your bum away from the wall a few inches, maybe even as far as a foot away from the wall, to make having the feet against the wall more accessible. So now we're in wall Malasana or Yogi Squat. Feet against the wall, slightly angled out towards the sides, heels in, toes out. Knees should be wider than your rib cage as they come in towards your belly. Again, you want the low back to be pressing into the floor. So if you feel that low back curl up, maybe again you slide away from the wall. You can rest here. If you're wanting a little bit more, bring the backs of your forearms to the insides of your knees and gently begin to press the knees outwards as you press the tailbone down. We've got about 5 more breaths here. Good. Now once again, hands are going to come to the insides or the outsides of the knees. Use some resistance. Slowly start to bring your knees inwards. Start to heel toe them in. We're still somewhat against the wall. And again, now we're going to go into a reclining twist or supine twist. If you are too close to the wall, please scoot your hips away from the wall in your mat to make this twist accessible. Allow your arms to open into a wide T position. We're going to take your knees to the right from here. Slowly letting the knees roll off to the right. Let the chest open towards the ceiling. Try to stack your hips. So you might even have to adjust the hips with the knees turned to the right. And try to stack your knees. Arms, chest, and ribcage open. Gaze can fall to the left fingertips if it's safe for your neck. And take 5 breaths here. One more breath. Once you come out of this position, you can engage your core, simply lift the knees back to center, or use the wall for support. Start to walk the feet up the wall until your hips are back on the mat. And then from here, we'll allow the knees to fall to the left. Arms still stay open in a T. Gaze can fall towards the right fingertips if safe for your neck. Take your right hand up and over until you're lying comfortably on your left side. You can always use your left arm as a pillow. We'll rest here for a couple of breaths. And now nice and slowly, begin to lift yourself up to seating. Coming to all fours, transitioning nice and slow. From all fours, before we move your mat, we'll take a couple of cat-cows. Just to get a bit of blood flow moving through the spine, down away from your head. Good. Now from here, we're going to move your mat away from the wall. Give yourself plenty of space away from the wall, so at least a couple of feet. Have your blocks handy from here towards the top edges of your mat. We will be using those shortly. You could always place that pillow underneath your knees to support your knees, or just keep it handy. We are going to be on hands and knees for a little while, so if you'd like that extra padding, keep your pillow nearby. You can always double up your mat or fold up your mat underneath the knee that's down as well. So meeting back in your tabletop position, hands and knees. Stacking your hips over your knees, your shoulders over your wrists. Have your wrists just slightly forwards of the shoulders, so you have a light crease in your wrist rather than a heavy crease. Up to you whether your toes are tucked or untucked. It can feel different depending on the tightness of your low back. But if you were to glance between your knees, make sure you can't see your feet. We're going to start again with a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhaling as you draw your chest forwards, lower your belly, lift your tail. As you exhale, start to curl under, tucking your tail, rounding your spine, bring your chin to your chest. Let's do 4 more here. Inhale. And exhale. 3. 2 more. And last one. From here, I'm going to turn to face you so you can see my legs a little bit better for these next few shapes. And you can stay right as you are facing the top of your mat. That'll come in handy shortly. From here, inhale, drawing your heart forwards. 1 more cat-cow, exhale. Good. Now from here, we're going to reach for one of your blocks and place that block at the center of your mat. You're going to bring both of your hands onto this block. So we're coming into kind of a lifted tabletop position. Use your next inhale then to take your right leg straight back behind you, bending the right knee up so the foot faces the ceiling. As you exhale, now draw your knee into your chest. Little warm up for the core. Keep the bend in the knee. Inhale, as if you were lifting a ceiling tile, lift the right foot towards the ceiling. And then again, exhale, knee to chest. 1 more here. Inhale. Little harder with the block. And exhale. Good. This time as you inhale, lift the right leg up. As you exhale, we're going to bring your right knee towards your right elbow, towards your right armpit. And then from there, bring your right foot forwards to the outside of your hands into a nice wide lunge. Your foot might not make it all the way there. It might land a little further back. Use your right hand then to help the right foot forwards. Now we're in a nice wide lunge. Your right foot should be on the outside of both of your hands. From here, little rocks back and forth. They don't have to be large. You might even take a few circles of your pelvis around the center of your mat. Again, really small movements for now. We're going to come back to this shape once again. This is just kind of like the warm-up version of the shape. Good. Now from here, staying on your block, we're going to take your right leg and extend your right leg out to the right. So your right foot's extended out to the right, left knee still on the mat. Again, I'm turning to face you simply so you can see both of my legs better in these next few shapes. You would still be facing the top of your mat. Take your block, set it to the side, come back onto both palms. A few rounds of cat-cow here. This is going to help to stretch inner thigh, inner hip. As you inhale, heart forwards. As you exhale, spine rounds. Couple more here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. One more round. Inhale. And exhale. Coming to neutral here, a little bit of twisting, warm up for the upper back and shoulders. Plant your left palm. On your next inhale, reach your right arm up to the ceiling, stacking wrists, stacking fingertips and shoulders. Hold for the exhale. Take one more inhale here, reach a little higher. As you exhale, we're going to take your right arm, sweep it underneath your left armpit, twist and reach under to the left. Inhale, come back up, reach to the sky. Exhale, sweep underneath and reach towards the left wall. We've got a couple more here. Inhale. And exhale. 2, inhale. Exhale. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, twisting underneath. Good, inhale, taking the arm up. And this time as you exhale, simply return back to table, lowering your right palm, slide your right knee back in to meet left. As you come back into table, let your hips windshield wiper a few times from side to side. Come back to table and once again, reach for your block. Placing that block at the center of your mat, both hands will again come to the block. From your tabletop, lift your left leg up and back, again keeping a bend in the knee. So we're taking the sole of the foot to the ceiling as if you were trying to lift a ceiling tile. Take an inhale. As you exhale, knee to chest. Good, inhale, lift that ceiling tile. And again, exhale, knee to chest. Again, it's a little harder with the hands on the blocks to balance. So work at your level. You can always bring the hands back down to the mat. Got a couple more here. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath in. Good. As you exhale this time, left knee is going to come towards your left elbow. Try to lift a little towards the armpit. And then see if you can bring your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So your left foot would be towards the outer left edge of your mat. Again, if it doesn't make it all the way there, you can always use the left hand, give it a little hop forwards. From this lunge here, I'm going to take a few rocks back and forth. Again, maybe draw a few small circles, circling the pelvis around the center of your mat. Little movements to encourage blood flow into your hips. Once you feel even on the left side, staying on your block for now, we're going to take your left leg and now slide the left leg out to the left. So the left leg is extended. Sole of the foot is on the mat. Set your block to the side, come back onto your palms, and we'll take 4 rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, heart forwards. Exhale, round the spine. 3 more. Inhale. And exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. 2. As you inhale, find your neutral spine. Plant your right palm. Use your next inhale to lift your left arm up to the ceiling, finding your twist. Pause here to stack your fingertips, stack your wrists, and stack your shoulders. Opening across the chest. Take one more inhale, reach a little higher. Now as you exhale, take your left arm, sweep it underneath your right, and reach to the right. Inhale, lift the left arm back up to the sky. Exhale and sweep underneath. Couple more here. Inhale. And exhale. 2. Breath in. Exhale under. Last round. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale. Take your arm up. As you exhale, come back to tabletop. Left palm down, left knee in. A few windshield wipers of your hips side to side. From here, a wide knee child's pose. Gently walking the knees out a little wider than your hips. Bring the 2 big toes together to touch. Press your hips back towards your heels any amount as you crawl the fingertips forwards in front of you. With child's pose, it's always acceptable to have your knees a little more forwards over your hips, kind of coming more towards a down puppy pose. You can always place a blanket in between your hips and heels, or maybe a block underneath your hips to make it more accessible if your knees are a bit tighter. Take a couple more breaths here. And from your child's pose, flip your hands so your palms are facing upwards. Take a few finger curls, curling the fingers in and out of fists. Maybe a few wrist circles, get some blood moving back into your wrists. You've been on your hands for a little while. One more full breath in child. Soften now through hands, shoulders, arms, head, and neck. Finding weight once more back into your palms. Inhale, shift forwards, coming back to hands and knees. Remove any props behind your hips. From here, we're going to come to a downward dog. And if downward dog does not feel right for you for any reason, too much for the shoulders, you're free to remain in tabletop, or you're free to find a wide-legged standing forward fold at the back of your mat, which is where we will ultimately meet. So for now, if you're going into downward dog, tuck your toes, press your hips back towards your heels. Think about lengthening the spine as much as possible as you start to send your hips up and back. So the goal is to create an inverted V or A shape with your body, taking out any rounding from the backs of the shoulders. So you want to be aware of the weights kind of shifting forwards towards the wrist. And that's going to square off the shoulders. You want to press the weight back so the shoulders come well behind the wrist. This is going to take a lot of the weight off of the shoulders and the wrist, as you're sending the weight more back into the feet. This might also mean that you bend the knees quite a bit as well to really be able to get the weight into the feet. Let your head fall heavy. Relax your shoulders. I'm going to take one more breath here. And now from your downward dog, walk your feet out the width of your yoga mat, maybe even an inch or 2 wider. So you're in a nice wide downward dog. Lift the sit bones towards the ceiling behind you. Lift the inner thighs. Take a full breath in. Now as you exhale, start to go for a walk. Start to walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees as much as you need to make this walk accessible. I'm going to come to a standing wide-legged forward fold at the back of your mat. From here, again, maybe keep the knees bent to protect the low back, especially this first few breaths. Your hands might walk back, and you might place the palms on your body. That'll take some of the weight off the low back. If you're wanting a bit more, the hands might come to the floor, or you could also grab opposite elbows and just let gravity do the work for you. Be aware of any over pulling in the low back though. Again, keeping the knees nice and soft, belly towards thighs. Now let the body start to sway a little bit. You're going to bend towards one knee, straighten towards the other, kind of lunging side to side, letting your upper body sway as the hips move side to side. Take a few more of these. And then slowly swaying back to center. Exaggerate the bend in your knees a little bit more until you can bring your fingertips to the mat. From here, we're going to adjust your feet, keeping the heels the width of your yoga mat. Start to turn the toes out towards the sides, and then take a little seat. So a nice wide squat position. Bring your right palm onto your right knee, and then your left palm onto your left knee. Good. From here, palms are going to come towards the insides of the knees. We'll take a twist. Bring your left shoulder down and forwards. Twist, look up over your right. Inhale, come back to center. And now bring the right shoulder down and forwards. Twist, look up over the left. Good. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, walk the hands back down the legs, fingertips to the mat. Inhale, lift the hips. And then once again, bring the feet to parallel and rest in this forward fold. Hands can be at the body, knees can be bent, palms might be to the floor. Take one more breath here and do that same thing one more time. Bend the knees until your fingertips can come to the mat. Once the fingertips are on the mat, lift the chest and heel toe your feet out or turn the toes outwards so that the toes are out, heels are in. Bend the knees, sit back as if you were coming into a nice wide squat. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right knee, left hand to the inside of the left knee. Inhale, heart forwards, twist it. Exhale, left shoulder comes down and forwards, look up over the right. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale now, right shoulder comes forwards, twist, look up over the left. Good. Inhale, back to center. Exhale again, hands to the floor, slowly lift the hips and then walk the feet back to parallel. Last time, that's standing forward fold. Knees are going to stay soft, head heavy. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Wherever you are, bend the knees until you can bring your hands back to the mat and slowly start to walk yourself back out towards your downward dog. Walking the palms forwards, take a full breath in. As you exhale, begin to walk the feet back in until you're in downward dog. Feet hips width distance apart. Take a full breath. Bottom of your exhale, lower your knees. Once again, returning to tabletop hands and knees. Inhale, cow pose, heart forwards. Exhale, cat pose. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Now, grab both of your blocks. Once again, you're going to place your blocks at the center of your mat so that they're on the wide, long setting at center. And you're going to stack your blocks. So one on top of the other. From here, both hands are going to come to your blocks. This way, the chest will have a little more lift. You get a bit more range of motion. Take the left knee just slightly forward so you feel balanced. Inhale, extend the right leg back. As you exhale, bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Step your right foot in that nice wide lunge to the top of your mat. So right foot on the outside of both of your hands, both hands on the blocks. From here, feel free to keep the back knee down and take those little rocking motions back and forth, maybe finding a little bit more range of motion now. If you're wanting something a little stronger, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, and take those same motions, maybe some more circular motions, now circling around the ball of the foot. Good, you might lift and lower the hips to really stretch into the hips a bit more. Good, we've got a couple more breaths. Lowering the back knee if it was lifted. Inhale, lift the heart. As you exhale, think cow pose. Start to straighten the right leg as you round the spine. Hands should still be on both blocks. It's not going to be a whole lot of range of motion. Again, inhale, bend the knee. Lift the chest, think cow. Exhale, round the spine, straighten the leg. I'm going to do that one more time. Inhale. Good, and exhale. Inhale, lift the chest, bend the knee. Now as you exhale, slide the right knee back to meet the left. Let the hips kind of wiggle a little side to side. And then again with hands both at the center of your blocks. Take your left leg back behind you, second side. Bring the left knee towards the left elbow. And then step your left foot to the outer left corner or outer left edge of your mat. Nice wide lunge on the left side. Hands are going to remain on the blocks to keep the chest lifted. Gives you a little more range of motion in the lower body. And again, a few rocking motions, maybe some circles. And if you want something a little stronger, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. Same rocking motion, circles. Or you can lower the hips and lift the hips. We're going to spend a couple more breaths here. This side is going to come with a different transition at the end, our ultimate or peak pose. Getting the hips nice and warmed up for now. Good, again, lower the back knee, lift the heart, inhale, think cow. Exhale, round, straighten the front leg, press the hips back. Couple more here, rebending the knee, coming forwards, lifting the heart. Exhale, press it back. Again, inhale. And exhale. Good. On to a different transition now. Inhale, rebend the left knee, set the left toes down. Have the left toes slightly turned out to the left, away from the block. Both hands are going to be on the blocks. We're going to rebend or re-straighten your bottom leg. Right leg should be lifted, tuck the toes. We're going to soften, press off, and ultimately step your right foot forwards to meet the left. Now take both toes in, both toes out, both heels in. We're going to slowly have a seat on your blocks. So you might move those blocks a little further back to reach them. If this is too low for you, you're going to stay here in sumo squat. Keeping the hips hovering, elbows could come to the tops of the knees or thighs. You might add a pillow onto the blocks as well for a little extra height, and then slowly begin to lower hips to the blocks. From there, you'll be able to start to lengthen through the spine, eventually getting the back nice and perpendicular to the floor. Elbows, forearms can come to the insides of the knees. You can begin to press the knees outwards as you lift the heart forwards and up. Toes out, heels in. After a couple breaths, if you feel like you could take this a little bit deeper, shift the hips forwards. Maybe remove the pillow. Maybe remove a block and have a seat on one block, making any adjustments here that are needed. We're going to take about 6 to 8 more breaths here in your Malasana. You could have, again, backs of the arms on the insides of the knees. You can also bring your hands traditionally into prayer at the center of your heart. And the deeper you draw your thumbs towards your sternum, the the more that's going to force the elbows out wider and ultimately open the knees wider as well. Keep lifting the heart. We've got a couple more breaths. Feel free here as well, if you can go deeper, to remove that last block. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Good. Slowly start to release your fingertips to the mat. If you were in sumo, you'll be here, fingertips to the mat. You might even reach for one of your blocks. If you're in Malasana, we're going to lift the hips and up in that sumo position. So kind of a deep squat. I promise we're coming out of this from here. Take the left toes, turn them slightly in, transfer the weight to the left foot. So you can step the right foot back into a lunge. Set your right knee down. Good. Now from here, remove your blocks. Set them to the side. You're pretty much done with those. Palms can come to the floor, fingertips to the floor. Slide the left knee back to meet the right. You're back in tabletop. One more time. A few windshield wipers of the hips. Now allow the hips to shift to one side, knees to the other. Take a seat. Once you've come to seated, bring your legs around and forwards out in front of you. Bend your knees. Shimmy your hips down so you're at the center of your mat. You have plenty of space to lie back. And then with the knees bent, take the feet out once again about the width of your yoga mat with your toes slightly turned out to the side. I'm going to do a few cat-cow type movements here now, grabbing a hold of the front of your shins with your fingertips. As you inhale, use the hands to open the knees. Draw your heart forwards through the thighs. As you exhale, now round the spine. Let the knees come towards each other as you round backwards. 4 more like that. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and round. 3, breath in. And exhale. 2. Last one, inhale, heart forward. Now as you exhale and round back, walk the palms, fingertips back behind your hips, and now windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Bringing your knees back through center, release onto one forearm and then the other. Use this to slowly lower yourself onto your mat. Once you come to your mat, walk the feet in towards the hips, and again, windshield wipe your knees. Keeping the feet nice and wide so the knees are staggered as they go side to side. So it'll give you a little bit more of a stretch in the hips. Take your knees back to center. Adjust here so that your back is nice and flat on the mat, and then draw your knees into your chest. Once again, giving your knees a hug. We'll take a few circles here. Palms to the kneecaps, circling your knees around your hips to massage your low back. And now bring your hands behind your knees. Open the knees wider than your rib cage, wider than your shoulders. Flex your feet to the ceiling. You're in happy baby, another version of Malasana. Try to press the low back into the floor. The longer the back, the more the stretch will target the hips and glutes and less the back itself. You could stay here with your hands behind your knees, or if accessible, you might reach for your ankles, outer or inner edges of your feet, or even your big toes. Imagine you were squatting on the ceiling as you press your knees towards the floor outside your shoulders. Feel free to move your happy baby if it feels good to rock, or play with extending one leg out as you draw the other heel in. You might also like to just hold a static happy baby and work on finding the length in the spine. We'll take about 4 to 5 more breaths here. Releasing whatever bind you have, knees, feet, or hips. Now bringing the palms to the outsides of the knees. Use that resistance to press the knees back inwards. Again, drawing a few circles, knees around hips. Lower your feet to the mat, knees still bent. We're going to come into one more Baddha Konasana or butterfly shape. Bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees to fall nice and wide. You might place blocks or pillows underneath your knees or thighs here. You might allow gravity to find the intensity for you. Rest here for a few breaths. And then notice if you slightly tuck the tail, press the low back into the mat. Notice how that moves the stretch within your hips. Find a few breaths there, just gently tucking the tail, pressing the low back into the floor, and then allowing the knees to fall wider open. Slowly relax the glutes and low back. You'll feel it start to arch a little bit, pull away from the floor. Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to bring your right knee in until it's comfortable to extend your right leg towards the top right corner of your mat. Bring the left knee in until it's comfortable to extend the left leg to the top left corner. Flex and point your feet here a few times. Draw a few gentle circles with your ankles. And then allow the feet to fall wide and heavy, making any adjustments that are needed to your hips, your low back. From here, gently lift the rib cage, lift the shoulder blades, draw the heads of the shoulders gently back, and then lower the spine, pressing the shoulder blades into the floor until you feel your back nice and flat, lengthen out along the floor itself. Hands could stay folded over your body, but you might allow the hands to fall just as wide as the legs. Take a full deep breath in through your nose. And a nice long exhale out of the mouth. If comfortable, allow your eyes to gently close. Eyelashes tickling your cheeks. If not comfortable to close your eyes, try to soften your gaze, maybe towards the tip of the nose. Try to feel your breath moving in and out of your body. A gentle caress of air inside your nasal passages. Flow of cool air caressing the back of your throat. Maybe that same coolness filling your lungs as you feel your belly, rib cage, and chest expand with new energy and new life. With your exhale, feel a sensation of release as the warmth of the air now travels up the back of your throat. That same warm air caressing your upper lip. Allow yourself to soften here into this space, into your breath. Releasing tension from glutes, shoulders, upper arms. Releasing tension from calves, ankles, and feet. releasing tension from your jaw, cheekbones, and the space between your eyebrows. Allow yourself to soften into this space, becoming aware of how soft your breath becomes as your body finds stillness. Allow yourself to begin to deepen your breath, lengthening your inhales and exhales. Once again, inviting new energy, new life back into your body. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Circle your wrists and ankles. Inhale, stretch long as if you've just woken in the morning. Exhale, draw your knees into your chest for one last hug. A moment or two here to pause, rocking gently side to side, drawing some final circles. Eventually roll yourself onto one side, right or left, giving yourself a moment or two there to pause. And from your side, once again, begin to slowly press yourself back up to seated. Come into any comfortable seated position, whether Sukhasana, cross-legged, butterfly, maybe sitting on your heels, or just simply extending your legs forwards out in front of you. Find as tall a seat as you can, lengthening from tailbone to crown. Turn your hands to breast upwards, letting them fall gently onto your lap, your knees. Take a full deep breath in and a long, complete breath out. This next inhale, circle your arms wide, bringing the palms up and in. As you exhale, connecting palms, bring your thumbs to the center of your forehead. May your mind always know peace. Your thumbs to your lips. May your words always speak peace. Thumbs to the center of your chest. May your heart always know peace. Thank you all for joining me today. Namaste.